we have a stepper that's flat, the pedals are all the way down. They're both touching the bottom. This type of stepper needs oil and most likely needs seals. So we're going to put a set of seals in this one first. We're going to have to take the cylinder loose, the top part of the cylinder loose. So you use your wrenches to unbolt the top only bolt here on the cylinder. You take it out, you got a bolt, 2 plastic washers. Now we need to take both of them loose. So now we're going to loosen the top of the cylinder. It's tight, so we need a hammer. If it's tight, you can't just move it with a... And it comes loose. Now there's probably oil in the cylinder, so take a bunch of paper towels and something to catch the oil. And we see, notice spill the oil. And this is the assembly that we're going to put the new seals into. We'll take the other one apart also. And we have more oil coming out. Make sure you have a large drop cloth underneath your working area. There's no way to avoid oil. Now we're going to take this apart. Notice that there's a bolt holding on the bottom there. So we stick something through here so that we can hold the bottom of the collar. We take our wrench. Take that out of there. And then we're going to push this collar down like that and then pull the silver shaft off the top of it. We'll set that aside. And we'll do the same thing to the other one. Okay, and we do the same thing on this one. Push the collar all the way down and then pull out the silver shaft. All right, now we're going to remove the old seals. There's 2 old seals in each collar. You have 1 seal on the outside, this one right here, and you can use anything sharp, ice pick, an awl. In this case I have an awl, small screwdriver, something to get underneath there. And you can pull that old seal out of there and pull it off. Okay. Now inside the collar there's another seal, and that's one of the, this will be the replacement seal. This is the seals that go on the outside. So if you get your pick in there and pry it up, and it pops out. And so we can do, we have 2 different cylinders here. This particular cylinder collar uses a seal on the outside, and this one here uses a seal in the top of the cylinder, which uses one of these little round ones. And those are designed to keep the oil from coming out at the threaded part of the thing. Okay, so now we're ready to put the new seals in. We make sure that there's no nicks or grooves on the inside here from damages. We take our seal, we have a top and we have a top and we have a bottom. The bottom has grooves in it. So you put it in there and run your thumb underneath the inside, and then you slowly push it around, and at the same time your thumb is pushing it into the groove. And just a little process of slowly working it in. You just keep pushing. And eventually it'll pop all the way in there. And you just keep moving your fingers around and you'll hear it pop as it goes all the way in. Now this collar doesn't have a oil seal on the outside, so that one goes on the other cylinder. Now we'll put a new one in here, check out the inside of the race, it's fine. Put it in here, and then slowly push it around. Make sure you're up in the groove. Push it all the way down, make sure it's seated all the way around. This one, we have to replace this outer seal. So here's a new seal. We just take and stretch this one over the top of that, and we've got that replaced. Now we're ready to put the shafts back in. We put that on the ground here. And we push down. Do not pull this up to the top. Leave it right where it is. If you pull it all the way to the top, it'll bind up. The only way to get it off is to destroy the new seal that you just put in it. So do not do that. So now we're going to put our retaining clip back in. Okay, so we're going to put this one back in, push it down. Remember, do not pull this up. We'll put our retaining clip back on. Okay, now we're ready to reassemble the cylinders. And as I mentioned, you could have two kinds. So you have one kind that has an oil seal here, and the other kind doesn't, and it has this smaller seal that goes in the top of the cylinder. So in this case, if we look at this cylinder here, this bottom cylinder has an oil seal in the very top ring there. So we take our sharp tool and we remove that oil seal, and we replace it with a new one. And then we take it and put our top of our collar back in here. And we use our little bolt to snug up the top of the cylinder. And we take the other one. Now notice this one does not have an oil seal on the top, but it has a seal on the side. And we put this one here and here. And we do the same thing. We're going to snug up this collar. Okay. The bottom cylinder, the one closest to the floor, we can reassemble that one. So we bring down the foot pedal. We put the bolt in from the bottom. And don't forget the washers. Put our nut back on here. And we tighten this up. Now, the top one, we're going to rotate this cylinder. So we need to remove this cylinder from the mounting on the bottom so we can turn it 180 degrees. So we're going to take this one apart. Don't lose the washers. And we're going to rotate this cylinder 180 degrees. And then we're going to put our bolt back in. And just thread a little bit so the bolt doesn't fall out. And now we're going to put a bolt in the top. There's a bolt in. Okay. Bring the pedal down. We're not going to tighten up the bolts. but we are going to have the cylinders. So what we want is the hoses coming out of these cylinders need to be on the top, and we need to make them the highest point in the system. So we're going to take a couple of 2x4s, and we're going to raise up the machine. Okay, I got it. And we need to go a bit more. We want to get the top of this cylinder higher. I guess we're going to have to raise it up some more.